Americans are being forced out of their homes as we're now seeing property taxes being raised to absurd amounts, guys. It has led some to believe that maybe renting is better than owning a home, since homeowners are now seeing their property taxes more than double due to specific rules in some states. This is the kind of stuff that would make first-time homebuyers second guess themselves if they're really ready to get into the housing market. And it's also a huge cause for concern for many seniors who live on Social Security, fixed income, SSI, SSDI, with some retirees thinking to themselves, is it time to get back to a full-time job just so they can keep their homes?
It's just terrifying.
They didn't hold back.
This is really un-American and disrespectful to senior citizens.
Homeowners, landlords, more than a dozen pleading with Hamilton County commissioners Thursday. Tax bills are due next week, and they're wondering how they're going to pay them.
Just from those of us that are retired, I don't want to have to go back to a full-time job.
Last year's reappraisal meant a historic increase for Hamilton County. With a booming housing market, property values soared 28%, while property taxes jumped 10.4%. But that's just the average. This 78-year-old says her numbers skyrocketed.
100%. I mean, my street, come down my street. It's crazy. My son is disabled and his was raised 12-fold. 12-fold. I mean, that's just his house valuation was increased by 100%, but his taxes were increased 12 times.
She and the rest of the room want county leaders to raise a solution, but Commission President Alicia Reese says the state is to blame.
They control this law about having your values reassessed every 6 years.
Just to give you guys a better picture, this law that they have to reassess property values every 6 years can be changed, but it has to be done by state legislators. So yes, these are the people who are in the House of Representatives, they're in the Senate, together with their governor. So the impact is greatest felt by most seniors living on fixed income, Social Security typically, because they're not sure how they're going to come up with this extra kind of money. I mean, anybody on a fixed income will probably tell you the exact same thing. The fact of the matter is this: some of these people are seeing their taxes increase by more than 100%. That means doubling. I even saw one that said that their property taxes were going beyond a 200% increase. This is just mind-boggling, guys. It's no wonder we're hearing about taxes becoming more of a burden compared to mortgages. When's the last time you heard mortgages being cheaper than your property taxes?
Tonight as well, some Hamilton County residents speaking out after they say their property taxes have more than doubled in just 6 months.
It's a dilemma affecting homeowners all across the state.
Simone Jameson spoke with some homeowners and county officials. She's live from Walnut Hills with more.
That's right, Trisha. Rob, I spoke to 3 longtime homeowners here in Walnut Hills who all tell me they've seen a 500% increase in their property taxes and that they have until the first full week in February to pay up. County leaders tell me there are a number of factors that's fueling this troubling spike.
For it to jump that high, it's unreal.
Latasha Shields tells us she's now being billed more than $1,700 for property taxes, when a year ago, she says it was less than $700.
I've been here for 10 years now. I'm living more for my kids, so I'm wondering if they'll be able to keep my house if I'm not here. That's the big thing as far as taxes going up so much.
Some homeowners are pissed about the fact that Hamilton County, they hired a third-party company to do their evaluations, and they're saying that it cost taxpayers a cool $5.9 million. The county, though, says that they're doing their part to help out, even providing a delinquency payment plan that would give homeowners the chance to pay off their taxes in 2.5 years through 5 installments. However, these kind of plans are easier said than done. It's kind of heartbreaking when you think about the fact that Americans are having to go through something like this right now. Meanwhile, we continue to hear optimism from the government officials like nothing's wrong. Now, I want to go ahead and pivot here for a second because we talked about property taxes going beyond what people are paying for on their mortgages, which raises a very logical question. Does it pay to own a house nowadays? Now, I guess it depends on where you live, what your financial situation is, and your financial goals are, but a recent report shows that renting a 3-bedroom home is now cheaper compared to owning a home in 90% of the country. Do you guys believe that? In fact, 296 out of 338 counties here show that median rental rates require a smaller percentage of your wages compared to if you were to just up and buy that home. Now, of course, course, we're not covering how property can appreciate in value, how you can make money off of it. But if you're looking at the short term, then yes, technically renting is cheaper in 2024, given that interest rates and housing prices continue to remain high. Now, this is not saying that things won't go back to how we saw the housing market back then when cheaper homes were available and lower rates. But it would be naive for us to just kind of assume that we're going to see things get better anytime soon. But let's kind of get back to the property taxes here, okay? This isn't a problem just for Hamilton County. A poll from late last year has found that about 2/3 of Americans believe that their property tax rates were unfair. 27% said it was just about right, and a measly 3% said that they were being taxed too little. I don't know who would ever say that. So almost 70% of Americans surveyed from across all 50 states agreed that property taxes are just way too much. Now, as you can guess, many of us are not thrilled about these taxes, especially when you factor in that some of us don't even see what this money is doing for the community. I mean, higher taxes should mean better roads without potholes, nicer parks, you know what I'm saying? But some argue that this is not the case for every state or county. Some feel like they're being taken advantage of, and that those in office are using our taxes to do whatever they see fit. Look at this, guys. So another survey shows that 70% of Americans say that property taxes are way too expensive. So yeah, that's pretty much consistent with the one survey we talked about a second ago. But check this out. 66% have said that they pay too much on federal income taxes. Meanwhile, 60% said the exact same thing for local sales taxes. Do you agree with this outlook? And like I said, guys, the same people are claiming that they're not getting a good return on their taxes, with 66% of respondents admitting that they barely have any trust in how their taxes are being spent by the federal government. Another 58% said the exact same thing for their state governments. Do you think that this is a fair assessment? But it's not like these complaints are going to change much, right? It's not like our federal or state government will see these studies and think to themselves, hey, maybe we should lower taxes for once. Fat chance, I guess. There's also no shot that we actually see people come together and just decide collectively not to pay property taxes as a way to protest. That's just not happening. The problem here is that we could see people lose their homes that they've been living in for almost their entire lives. It could also push more homeowners to sell their homes since property taxes have essentially pushed them out, a move that will probably lower pricing in the housing market. But since we talked about taxes, we should probably talk about this bill that's supposed to give us a little breathing room. That is, if it passes.
This bill is called the Tax Relief for American Families and Workers Act. It would lower tax bills for businesses and for families. People who have children can get up to $1,600 in a child tax credit. If this bill passes, it would up that number to $1,800 for last year, $1,900 for this year, and $2,000 for next year.
And with the child tax credit expansion, which is going to affect at least about 15 million children, those are the things that have a direct impact into the benefit of families. Most taxpayers, they use the tax season as the one time they can actually see real savings, because it's been very difficult for most families to save money, especially after the pandemic.
The bill would also give businesses some more tax deductions, but even though it could increase your refund, we don't know yet if it'll pass.
Now, this thing has actually passed in the House. However, some critics say that it's absolutely not enough given how much we continue to shell out in different forms of taxes. What do you guys think about all this? And before I go, I want to thank you guys for always hitting the like button for the video. Thanks for subscribing. Thank you for sharing these videos, and I'll see you on the next one.